Hey, I'm Kev Kermas. Welcome to Power Oversteer on the Real Motorsport Show on the ElusiveKev channel, and in today's episode we are previewing the 9th round of the 2013 FI Formula 1 World Championship in Germany at the famous Nürburgring circuit. It is a week after a very embarrassing and very strange chapter in Formula 1 history at the British Grand Prix, where there was numerous drivers, almost a third of the field, affected by tyre problems in the race. But there have been some changes made. Pirelli are going to put Kevlar, a layer of Kevlar over the steel belts in the tyres, and then from Hungary onwards they're going to do a mix of 2012 construction tyres, and it's a positive change. And it's like Pirelli are finally able to bring the tyres they've wanted to since Britain, since last week. So yeah, that's a very positive change. Also, the young drivers test scheduled at Silverstone from the 17th to the 19th of July, I believe. It's going to be changed into a tyre test. All the teams apart from Mercedes are going to run there over the 3 days, and a fourth day was speculated, but it looks unlikely now. So I find it strange how I said yesterday how Mercedes were banned from that test, but now they've changed the young driver test to a tyre test for safety. I do find it strange how Mercedes aren't running there. I know they've had their own secret tyre test after the Spanish Grand Prix, but this is a test that I think all the teams should attend, because it is about tyre safety. It is about evaluating a new tyre, and it's going to be major for the rest of the season. There's also restrictions on the components teams can test there. It's not like a free test like the Pirelli had with Mercedes, as I said. So yeah, it's going to be very restricted, and there's going to be lots of delegates there, as well as Pirelli are really hammering down on these teams. They want fixed limits on camber settings, on the PSI of the tyres. They want to get a delegate in to check all the cards and make sure teams are abiding to these rules. And so yeah, it's a bit like Pirelli are putting their foot down a bit too late on this issue. I mean, Silverstone could have been avoided if they were a bit proactive earlier, but now they're just kind of overreacting. I feel that they're not really taking any blame from the Silverstone affair. It seems they have put the teams under the bus, and in some cases fairly, but there's a bit unfairly as well. And now it seems like they're going a bit overboard on the restriction to put in on teams. And so yeah, Pirelli, and are they trying to write their way out of a contract next year, it seems? And with no tyre manufacturer really showing any interest, why would they? Honestly, it's a bit of a tough situation at the moment on this tyre front, even with all these positive changes coming forward, I believe. So yeah, that's the changes. But let's talk about the standings before we go to Germany. So Sebastian Vettel leads the championship on 132 points after retiring from the lead of the race. Fernando Alonso again on the podium, 111 points behind him. We've got Kimi Raikkonen in third on 98 points, I think. Don't have my glasses, I can't. You can barely read the computer screen over there, but yeah, he's in third place ahead of Lewis Hamilton on 89 points. Mark Webber just a couple of points behind Hamilton, with Rosberg right there now on 82 points after his win there in Silverstone. Felipe Massa in 7th place, bit of a gap to 57 points, and a bit of a gap to Hulda Resta in 8th. Another solid points finish. He's finishing the points apart from one race in Malaysia. He got 36 points. He's ahead of Roman Grosjean by 10 points after the Frenchman retired with damage to his front ring. Jenson Button rounds out the top 10, a point behind Grosjean. Then we got Adrian Sutil a couple of points behind, John-Eric Verne, Sergio Perez, and both victims of tyre blowouts in Silverstone. Daniel Ricciardo, great weekend for him, and he has got 11 points now. And then behind him, Nico Hulkenberg, who got a great point for Sauber and has got 6 overall, just like the team behind him. Maldonado, Bottas just missing out points for Williams. Then we got Gutierrez, Bianchi, Pick, Chilton and Van der Garde, whose rumours are really mounting that he could be out of that seat in place of Heikki Kovalainen if he does not improve, and Caterham are really working with him to improve, so hopefully he does. In the constructors, we got Red Bull leading by 219 points, then we got Mercedes behind 171, with Ferrari a few points behind in third, Mercedes leapfrogging them after Silverstone. Lotus in fourth on 124, and then big gap to Force India on 59, McLaren 37, Toro Rosso 24, I think, and Sauber on 6 in 8th. Then we've got Williams, Mercia and Caterham. So those are the standings. Let's talk about some track facts. So some track facts for the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, the revamped Nürburgring, almost exactly 10 years ago, or 11 years ago now. But the Nürburgring has been around for a long time. It has a North Schleife, has a South Schleife, which is kind of gone now, and yeah, there's still the shortened North Schleife now because they made the current GP circuit out the start finish straight of the old North Schleife track, and the current Grand Prix track was changed in 2002 after the very fast starting S's in 2001 were replaced by this slow right hand corner and in kind of an omega shape infield before it rejoined to the old track. So the new circuit, it's 5.148 kilometers long, or 3.198 miles long. It's got 16 turns, so that records a 129.468 by Michael Schumacher in his Ferrari in 2004, almost 9 years ago. But I do get the feeling that might go this qualifying or this weekend, and the Nürburgring been around for a very long time. It's located in the Eifel Mountains near the medieval castle of Nürburg, and if you follow Real Buxton on Twitter, he has some pictures of the old castle and of the surrounding village and of the forest around the North Schleife. It's very nice pictures. But yeah, this is south of Cologne by about 70 kilometers in Germany, and it's near the Rhineland. And this circuit has been around since 2002, but the new Grand Prix circuit's been around since 1984, when they did chop up that start finish straight and built a new one, and it was celebrated by an exhibition race in some Mercedes with old champions, or most of the remaining champions, some Grand Prix stars of the present then, and a young Ayrton Senna who decided to take it seriously and won the race. And so yeah, that was the first individual event there. And then it hosted the European Grand Prix in 1984, then the German Grand Prix in 1985, but then it was off the calendar for quite a long time, the Nürburgring, until the success of a certain Michael Schumacher, who's quite local to this track, as you probably heard before. You know, he's been karting here, started karting on the track near the Nürburgring, along with a certain Sebastian Vettel as well. And so after Schumacher's success in the mid-90s, it came back from 1995 to 2006 as the European Grand Prix, apart from 97 98 when it was known as the Luxembourg Grand Prix. And as I said, it had changed in 2002 when the old former Castrol chicane, as I said at the start, got replaced by the hog hook and then Mercedes curves, and Mercedes got curves everywhere it seems in Germany. But yeah, this has made the track longer, while their neighbours, the Hockenheimring, got significantly shortened from the 6.8 kilometre epic or 4.23 mile track to the 4.5 kilometre track it is now, 2.8 mile track it is now. And so yeah, Nürburgring and Hockenheim had coexisted until 2007, when both circuits have been losing money due to the high licence fees charged by Bernese and the low attendance, where they make their money from the ticket prices they You know, high ticket prices they had to charge to make this money meant they had low attendances, and so from 2007 they started sharing the German Grand Prix. I know in 2007 it was called the European Grand Prix due to some disputes, but involving Bernie, I think. So yeah, that's what happened. But more facts about the Nürburgring. Let's talk actually about some races that happened there. So it's most famous in the mid-90s after it came back. 95, Schumacher won after passing John and AC late in the race in his Ferrari in his Benetton back then, before he actually moved to Ferrari the next season. And then in 97 he got hit by his brother Ralf Schumacher, Michael, in his Jordan. That actually may have cost Michael the World Championship. And in 1999, one of the the best F1 race I've ever witnessed, and in the best season I've ever witnessed, in 99, when Johnny Herbert came through from after, I believe, David Coulthard, Jacob Fisichella, Howard Frentzen, Ralf Schumacher. After a number of guys had led the race, he came through in some mixed conditions to win the only race for Stuart Grand Prix in 1999. And then in the early thousands you kind of saw Schumacher win a bit, and then after that we also saw in 2005 as well, when Kimi Räikkönen leading onto the last lap with a big vibration in his front left though. Suspension gave way and he retired, and the short rule of that season, where it was one set of tyres for the whole race, was abandoned afterwards. Thank God, because those tyres weren't really sustainable for that long in the middle of refueling. So yeah, maybe now where there is no refueling, they can make tyres that properly last that long, especially at Bridgestone, you know. But prior to that 2007 European Grand Prix, a couple of years later, the Audi S turns 89 were renamed to the Michael Schumacher S. Those fast left to right up the hill from the Dunlop curve, which is that hairpin right at the bottom of the hill, where I remember Michael Schumacher getting spun by, or he actually spun himself when passing John Pablo Montoya. He got pushed back onto the track and wasn't even penalised, amazingly. And Schumacher then became the second driver to drive turns bearing his name after Ayrton Senna drove through the Senna S's at Interlagos in his later years. And the track, as I said, 16 turns, and it was about the Dunlop Airs. Let's continue from the Michael Schumacher S there, and you go up the hill a bit, and there's a sharp left-hander in turn 10, and this caught out Sebastian Vettel and Michael Schumacher in 2011. Downhill to the right hand and up a hill for a fast right king to the Vidal chicane at the end of the lap, where as I said, Schumacher passed the Lacey in 95, and then the Coca-Cola curve right there. And there's also curves such as like the named after tyres, and it seems like sponsored curves everywhere on that track. So yeah, that's a bit about the Nürburgring and a bit about the recent races there as well. In 2009, of course, Mark Webber won his maiden race, even after getting a drive-through penalty, I believe, after hitting Rubens Barrichello at the start. And I think it was hit from hitting Rubens Barrichello. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he got a drive-through penalty and still won by miles. He was a man on a mission that race. In 2011, Lewis Hamilton, Mark Webber, Fernando Alonso battled out for the win, but it's Lewis Hamilton who won after passing Alonso on. When Alonso came out the pits, he passed him on the outside into turn 2, and then Alonso came second, Webber third. Vettel was a strange fourth that season, and Massa was fifth. So that's some track facts about the Nürburgring. A bit wishy-washy, I know, all over the place, but that's tracks about the new Nürburgring. Let's talk about some predictions then. So some predictions for the German Grand Prix. This is a strange fact that Sebastian Vettel hasn't won a race in July, but I think he's going to win this one. I get a feeling. The Red Bull's going to suit it, and he's in good form this year, of course. Never finishing outside the top 4 when he's finished a race. Expect Webber to do well. As I said, dominated 2009, challenged in 2011. He should be right up there as well. Ferrari, expect them to do well with Alonso and Massa both tracks that, you know, they do quite well out of 10. Of course, they battled for the win here in 2007 in those horrendous conditions there, after the strange fact of Marcus Rinkelhoff starting last in the race, and then when it got red flagged he was leading by like 40 seconds, and so he restarted the race in first, the only driver to do so, start from last and first in a race. I don't think anyone's ever going to do that again, especially now that we use safety cars, and we use safety cars and wait until, you know, all the water's gone and really delay the race. So yeah. And Lotus, I'm not really sure about Lotus this race. I do expect Raikkonen to be up there in the top 5 maybe and get some solid points, but I'm not sure about challenging for the win. And I forgot about Mercedes. I do expect them to get pole. I do expect maybe Hamilton to get pole here in the Mercedes, but I'm not sure if they can. I'm really not sure if they could challenge for the win. I think Red Bull more suited to this track, maybe over the race distance. I think they might get ahead and pull away, or just be ahead. We don't really see drivers pull away this year, strangely, but yeah, I think they will get ahead. So a top 3 for me. I think Vettel, Webber, and Alonso and Hamilton will share it as they cross the line over in a dead heat. Now I think maybe Hamilton will get third, Alonso 4th, and then maybe Rosberg 5th, Massa 6th, and then the Force India's still done well here. 2009 was challenging for some strong points until he came out the pits and hit Kimi Raikkonen. In 2011 he did get solid points in 6th, so I expect Force India to do well here, and the rest are on a bit of a roll, as I said, always finishing the points this year, apart from Malaysia when they had that wheel nut failure. And so yeah, I expect the rest of you to get some solid points again, and Toro Rosso to do well. I do expect them to do well here. I do expect Ricciardo and Vergne to be challenging for points again, Williams to be mired in the midfield with Sauber, and McLaren just fighting maybe for the odd point. I expect it's a track that kind of suits them a bit like Silverstone, but I'm not sure if they'll be really moving forward up like Silverstone, where they were challenging for kind of solid midfield points in 7th and 8th for most of the race. So yeah, McLaren maybe get the odd point if they can really get it all sorted during the race. So yeah, that's predictions. Marussia and Caterham to be ahead of Marussia. I think Caterham are much stronger now, it seems. So that's my predictions. Let me know in the comments below, of course, your predictions, and that is Power Oversteer. There's still one more to show this week though, and that's going to be a new Power Oversteer Uncut, where I'm just going to rant about the tyre situation in F1 at the moment, how the situation in Silverstone could have been avoided, and hopefully it will be avoided for the rest of this season, and what this means going ahead politically maybe, and how I basically read the situation. So yeah, that's going to be a special Power Oversteer, and that'll probably be out tomorrow now, because I got to put these 2 up today. So yeah, look out for that, and it's going to be a bit different. I think I'm going to look a bit different in that. I'm going to maybe wear a hat, I think. So yeah, that's the Power Oversteers. We'll be back with a normal Power Oversteer, reviews of Pocono, reviews of the German Grand Prix, hopefully on Monday. I always say hopefully on Monday, but sometimes I'm busy on Sundays and Mondays and Tuesdays, so it's always Tuesday or Wednesday, but hopefully I will get this out on Monday for once. So out for watching. So till next Power Oversteer Uncut, special Power Oversteer. Cheerio.